Hello, Facebook Live. I'm Dan Roshan, and today I am joined with a very special guest, Mr. Rob Chevez, who I've known for several years, probably a decade actually. And Rob is a visionary. He is a very thought-provoking business entrepreneur who just happens to sell real estate and help people with investments and do investments themselves. So, Rob, you wanna tell us a little bit about yourself? Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate it. Can you hear me okay? Everything good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Well, what would you like to know? You want to start back when I was born?
Tell me about the day, but the world now. Tell us, Rob. Tell us a little bit about your journey. So you're the owner, the CEO, visionary for the Caza group and the Grid Investor group as well. And I know that you've done property management in the past. And why don't you just take us back, from the start of the journey? What was your first business?
First business ever was I was a recruiter with my best friend. So I'll make it, short and fast. Right out of college, worked for an entrepreneur, showed me the value of building a business. My best friend approached me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting this business. It's recruiting salespeople for technology companies." Somebody approached me at a bar and said they'd pay me $5,000. And I think I'm going to do it. And I said, "Well, if you do it, I will come and help you build all the back end infrastructure." Right. And I think I was around 24, 25 at the time. And that's what we did. I mean, we rode that from 1998, started 98 to 2005, at which point he bought me out of that business so I could pursue real estate full time. I'd started buying around 99, 2000 because I made a little money in that recruiting business, and I started buying rentals and putting tenants in. And I caught the bug, to be honest with you. I couldn't stop thinking about real estate. And by 2005, I literally felt like I was working two jobs. I was, building this recruiting business, and we'd gone through a tech, implosion, and now the business was thriving again, but I couldn't stop thinking about real estate. And I was working on the weekends and late at night and in the morning and just learning. And so from 2005 to now, it's really been a journey, right? A journey of knowing that at the core, I'm an investor, business builder, and the real estate agent business was a way to really add that to our portfolio of what we wanted to do. For the first 2 to 3 years, all I did was just investments and just learned through trial and error how to buy, renovate, sell homes a smarter way, right? And a way that was profitable to us. And then we started having a lot of people asking us the questions like, "Well, how did you do this? And how can you help me sell my house?" And so I got the bright idea of getting my real estate license. And then I realized, wow, there's a lot less risk on that side of the table. And I enjoyed working with my sphere. And so that took us on a journey of really focusing on building a team. And then the agent of the investor business became part of our long-term wealth building strategy, right? And so I have some core ideas and philosophies around that. And we could talk a little bit about that at a later time, but it really had to do with what side of the equation are you going to make your earned income, and how are you going to create passive income, right? And so I made a decision personally that I was going to make the majority of my earned income on the agent business side, the agent side of the business, and that my passive income was going to come from buying assets and building businesses. And so that's what we've done.
So you and I, we've talked about this before. So it's basically you're utilizing the real estate sales process to generate cash flow, and then transferring that cash flow into wealth development through property ownership, business ownership, et cetera. Is that what I understand correctly?
That's right. Yep, that's right. And I just happen to love the agent side of the business, right? We're helping clients with an asset that's incredibly important to them. It houses their family, it provides shelter. A lot of just good comes out of that side. And so I like it.
What does your business look like today?
So we have about 20, 22 people, around 15 agents, 10 agents out of what we call the Reston location. and we have then expansion owners, partners in other areas. So we're more like 22, 23 total agents. And so what we've learned is that to serve our clients at the highest level, we have to really become hyper-local experts. So we started focusing on really tight-knit geographic areas. We realized that first and foremost, we want to take care of the people that know us, like us, trust us. That's our sphere, that's our core people, our tribe, right? And then we call that Farm One, and then Farm Two became this hyper-local model, or even a psychographic model where we go deep in assisting a community, because that you just give better value that way, right? By knowing all the inventory, knowing the area better than anybody else. So we started expanding outside of really our kind of like a little world here, and started opening up offices in like Gainesville, Virginia, and Clifton, and DC, and so we now have a model where we create business opportunity and ownership for expansion partners, while we get to serve clients at a higher level by being the geographic experts. And so last year we did around 125 million, 130 million in volume, and learning every day, making mistakes every day, having fun every day. So, building businesses. Just how
I
it is.
think, Rob, I think most real estate agents would agree with me where they would categorize 125, 130 million dollars of volume of business as a successful business. And I understand that that it's different on the inside than the outside, but I perceive you as successful for a different reason, and that's because of the lives that you impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, how do you describe success?
When my daughter is healthy, happy, engaged in life, she's found her path. Like, to me, that is the ultimate success. I was thinking about that the other day. Past that, it is about empowering other people to build their biggest lives. So it's that same theme, right? That's why we started Grid, right? The Grid Investor Network. I realized that where I'm happiest is in building people up, by helping them the way I know how, which is through entrepreneurship and business ownership. And so because I had a unique skill set in the world of investments, it was just natural for me to set up that network, which over time helped us build awesome relationships like the relationship that we have, but also allowed us to help serve a lot of families and help families build wealth beyond what they were doing in their day job. And we created the same opportunity within our real estate team, right? And so that's what I strive for, is to be able to help people build that for themselves, right? And I'm an educator by nature, and so this just kind of helps with that, right? So that's what fulfills me.
What's your daily schedule look like? Do you have a typical daily schedule?
I do. I'm like routine. So get up around 5:30, 6 o'clock, have a cup of coffee with my wife, is what we watch. CNBC, it's Squawk Box, we talk. Like, literally, that's the first meeting of the morning, right? Because my wife is our CFO, right? And we talk about what's going to happen the day, and where we're going, and what we're doing with our little girl. And I'll do that till about 7 o'clock, right? And then for the next hour, from 7 to 8, I'm doing a combination of taking a shower, stretching, taking a shower, and listening to something that really puts my mind in the right space. I'm literally wanting to learn something that helps our business grow or helps me grow. And then I'm at the office around 8 o'clock, 7:45, 8 o'clock. And then I'm in my lead gen type of mode. Who are we going to serve today? How are we going to help them? And whether it's talking to agents or talking to clients that need real estate assistance, right? Do that till about 11:45. And then at 11:45, the entire team jumps on a call. The entire company jumps on a call, and we go through a quick huddle. We go over numbers, tell me something goods, and then we're off the phone in 15 minutes. And then I'm typically driving on my way to a lunch appointment. and I'll have lunch with somebody that that's just part of the tribe, part of our family, and then I'm back at the office at around 1:15, 1:30, and yesterday I was at yoga at 4:45, right? So I felt like I got everything done, and then I got to work out at 4:45 and was done at 6 o'clock and home by 6:30. And that doesn't always happen. I'm trying to be more consistent with that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's, I start, sometimes I'll work out early in the morning. I tell my wife, okay, I gotta go this morning to yoga or later at night. But for the most part, apart from the working out piece that I want to fit in more, that's what the schedule looks like. Right.
That's fantastic.
In the
What do
afternoons,
you?
I'm normally meeting with my team, having appointments, things like that.
Got it. So Rob, I know that you live a big life, and that I know that you live a big life, and that you live a very determined life, and a very, a life by design.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what do you take the most joy out of? What brings you the most joy to you?
It's actually building something,
Mm.
right? Like if I feel that I'm moving something forward, whatever it is, right? Then I'm content in the doing of that, right? Whether it's empowering myself with information, or building a business, or um, uh, encouraging somebody to move forward. I just feel like I need to constantly be moving that ball forward. That it's the process that I enjoy. If you took that away, I would be miserable, right? People always talk about, like, I want to be on the beach doing nothing, like that. That would not be cool with me. I'd be like on the beach trying to figure out where we're going to build a little cabana, and how we can fly tourists in, and
Yeah.
we make this into a resort, because it's the art of dreaming that I enjoy, right? And the process of working towards that dream.
That's awesome, man.
That's what I
That's
like.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about? I mean, we all have things that causes anxiety, or things that stress us, and it's not really about high achievers, just like everybody else have fears.
Mm-hmm.
What do you fear? What's your greatest fear?
Greatest fear. I mean, I guess the biggest fear is me not hitting all the things that I know I'm capable of hitting, right? And I guess you could call that I think that that's a fear. Sometimes you don't feel that things are happening fast enough, right? Um, but I've learned to kind of give that up, right? It's like life is always going to turn you one way or another. Um, and so I guess the biggest fear is maybe that I don't ever live up to the potential that I know that I'm capable of, but I don't know if that's ever anything that's gonna. I think that that's what drives me more than anything else, right? Um, yeah, I want to, but at the end of the day, I want to be like, I lived a great life and I impacted a lot of people, and I think that you could do that. I think you could just do that with one person, right? I could set the stage and make it really easy and say, if I just impact one life, then I've lived a great life, right? Um, and so I've often thought, have I done that? And I believe that I have. Um, but yeah, man, that's a tough question. I don't know about the fear thing. It's like, what? I think the biggest fear as a business owner for me is not having my people succeed at the level that I know that they're capable of sometimes, right? And I can't do it for them. And they're gonna have to want to do it for themselves. And then um, I fear not being good enough for them to realize their own potential, but then realize it's really up to them. All I can do is set the stage, right, for that, and provide the platform that allows them to live their biggest life. Um, yeah.
So you provide the opportunity,
That was a
you
long
provide the platform, and then it's up to them to live the greatest life possible for themselves. Is that what I understand you saying?
That's right. That's right. But I want to make sure I'm saying the right things and doing the right things and setting the right stage so that they have every opportunity to be able to do that. And I think that there's, some trial and error that happens in there to make sure that it does.
So I love having this conversation, and you and I have this conversation about once every year or so, and we should have it more often. Most of that's been in an informal manner. And it's what I've observed is the evolution, that you've gone through in your business, and we're in a different spot today than we were 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And what I want to ask you is I've always known you to have a big vision. I've always known you to have a big reason, a big why. And I'm curious, how did you get others to believe in your dreams, and how do you get others to believe in your dreams today?
I think that if you, well, for one, you have to have a vision. I think people want to understand what that vision is, what is possible, and people will determine and even self-select: do I want to be part of that vision or not? And some people, sometimes the answer is they don't want to be part of it, and that's okay. So you have to find the talent and surround yourself with the talent that can understand that vision, and you have to paint it. It's, if you've ever read The Painted Picture, right? I don't know if you've ever done the painted picture, but literally you sit down and you paint the picture of what you want your life and your business to look like. And then what you're doing is you're moving in the pieces to be able to make that a reality. And sometimes, it's like building blocks. Sometimes you start building it and it falls because some of the pieces weren't laid correctly. And that's okay. You're just going to pick those pieces back up and just keep working at it. And it's just like any great painter, right? They're going to do the same thing. Sometimes it just doesn't go according the way you want it to. And then but the vision always remains the same. And people will either jump on that bus or they won't. And truthfully, it's the law of the lid, right? It's like your lid has to be so big. You've got to be a leader with a big lid in order to live a big life. And so you have to grow as an individual in order to allow your business to grow. I think your business only grows in direct proportion to you. And if it hasn't gotten there, then it just means that there's internal growth that has to happen in order to get there. So there's a lot of self-reflection that occurs there. And sometimes you can't always see it, right? People have to tell you potentially what it is because you don't know your own blind spots. And you have to have the ability to listen to what they are and self-correct and then work towards it. So that it's just failing forward, right? I think that any business owner doesn't sit down day one and they've got it completely figured out. They're constantly failing forward and understanding what their strengths are, and then surrounding themselves with people that can fill in the gaps on their weaknesses, and be honest about that, so that you guys can build something better together. Right? It's not one person building anything. It's impossible. It literally takes a tribe of people with the right core belief system, the right core vision together to build something, and they have to feel like they're part of it. Right? So whether it's financially they're part of it because they're business partners, or it's theirs, right? They have ownership in it somehow through like profit sharing. I mean, that's what profit sharing did, or through real business ownership.
That's awesome. Do you mentor?
I got a coach, right? I got lots of mentors. I got a maps coach. He's always asking me the right questions at the right time. I was having a discussion with him, a lot of times it's not so much what he says to me, but it's the question that he asks me that I realize that I don't have the right answer for, right? Mm. And then I have to go and find and self-discover that answer. And then, I have a lot of mentors in different areas, whether it's, friends of mine that have built businesses and are very wealthy, and they're mentors to me, right? My first boss, who is an entrepreneur and, made it an absolute killing and building his business and then selling it. Like he's a mentor to me. My parents, members of Grid, right? Like partners in Grid, they're all mentors. So I try to learn something from everybody around me.
What audiobooks or books have you read recently that have inspired you or made a difference in your life?
There's one I'm reading right now. I haven't finished it, but I'm totally engaged. It's called Story Brand, right? And what I love about Story Brand is how do you create a clear message so that the consumer understands instantly what it is that you're going to deliver to them, right? And the sequencing that happens, right? In building the story of your business. So every story has this natural pattern, right? Like you look at Star Wars and you've got Luke Skywalker who dreams and aspires to be something more and bigger, right? And he's got a calling. He knows that there's something out there, but then, enter in some kind of conflict. There's an evil empire that's out there and, Darth Vader. And so there's conflict that's there. And there's a guide along the way, a Yoda or an Obi-Wan Kenobi that's helping him kind of navigate this. And if he's successful, then, he's a hero. And if he's not, then there's certain death and destruction that occurs. And this is just a pattern, right? That happens in every story, and every business has to have the same story. And they posed this, they said this, and I've been reflecting on this for the last week. It's like, who is the hero, right? In the story of your business. Who's the hero? Is it the business that's the hero? Definitely not. Although that's how we paint ourselves, right? The client, the customer is the hero and we are the guide. And if you frame everything that way, where we're just providing them the tools so that they can be the hero of their own story, whether it's buying a house or building wealth, right? We're just the guide to help them. And this helps with how you tell the story on your website. It helps with lead conversion. It helps with everything. So I'm definitely fascinated with us walking through that process and discovering that internally within our business. And so that's one, right, that I'm in the process of reading now that I love. Profit First is another one, right? It's a great book on making sure that you're netting the amount of money you need to net in your business, right? Because sometimes as business owners, we have a year and we're like, what happened? Why, and
Well, I made money that year.
yeah. And how do I make sure that doesn't happen again? And it's a very simple system. You just siphon off the profit that you want right off the top, and everything else you have to figure out to make do with to run your business, right?
That's a smart, simple business concept. Take the profit first, and then everything else is just what it is.
Yeah.
So what advice would you offer to somebody starting out today?
Get a coach, get a mentor. Like the sooner you can actually get into coaching, you literally can cut your learning down from years to months. So people don't understand that, right? I wish I had. I feel like for the first 5 years, I was trying to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself why. Like somebody's already figured it out. All you got to do is kind of plug into it, right? So I would get a coach straight away. Don't think that you can't afford it. You can't afford not to have one. Is really what I would say. And things like this, right? Like online learning, but there is nothing better than having a coach be able to say, this is exactly how you should do it.
Right? Or ask the right questions so that you can determine how to do it as well, as you mentioned earlier. Yeah. And that's fantastic, because this is relatively generalized, yet if you were coaching me right now, we would be diving into unique and specific things that were important to me, and we'd be able to really uncover those.
Correct. Yep.
Rob, I really enjoyed having you today. I could do this for about 18 hours and I wouldn't get bored with it. You were so fantastic. And I'm going to ask, see if you can come on again at another date. Before we go, if I am a real estate agent or a consumer or somebody that's an investor or somebody that wants to know about one of your investor meetups, how can I get in touch with you?
Rob at thecazagroup.com, Caza, CAZA group.com is my email address. Welcome to email me, or just go to thecazagroup.com, call our main number. They'll put us in touch.
Cool, Rob. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Dan, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
Take care. It's my pleasure.